As we begin our activity today, we want to praise and bless you. You have given us another day to feel your love and to use your gifts to us. Strengthen us and guide us so that we may always do what is pleasing to your sight, and we may give you glory to the best of our abilities. Forgive us in our failings and help us to move forward, never losing hope. We lift to you also our loved ones, our group, and those who need most your help today. May you bless and keep them safe. All these we ask in your most mighty name. Amen.
Our friends, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to our virtual symposium on infectious disease prevention and control in the workplace, brought to you by the Philippine College of Occupational Medicine and Pfizer Philippines. We are excited to have you today as we discover new insights, featuring our esteemed speaker and moderator. We now ask everyone to direct your attention on screen.
Sana we have a good life together.
Sana lagi kitang maalagaan.
Sana maganda ang future mo.
What does it take to nurture hopes and dreams? For all of us at Pfizer, it's the commitment and dedication of our scientists and researchers to find breakthrough medicines that deserve the trust of Filipinos and their families. By helping you face health challenges with hopeful reassurance, medicines and vaccines that help change lives, protect lives, and celebrate life.
Sana you'll always be beside me.
Life-caring, life-changing, Pfizer. Follow us on Facebook.
To formally start our program, please welcome Pfizer's COVID-19 franchise country brand lead, Mr. Froy Diaz, for the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are from Pfizer, and the Philippine College of Occupational Medicine, or PCOM, is a strong partner of ours and an active advocate in having a healthy workforce to be in safe and healthy workplaces. Pfizer is very grateful for this opportunity to meet all of you today. We shall be sharing and discussing commonly encountered health and safety issues in the workplace and highlight the importance of the well-being of employees. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Macabulos, and the other officers of PCOM who are with us this afternoon. As we still continuously see COVID-19 cases up to this day, rest assured that Pfizer will continue to bring breakthrough therapies that will change patients' lives. I wish everyone a very productive and educational session today. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. Froy Diaz. Our speaker for this afternoon is the past national president and presently a member of the specialty board of the Philippine College of Occupational Medicine. He is the incumbent national secretary of the International Commission on Occupational Health. Dr. Macabulos is a diplomate and fellow of the Philippine College of Occupational Medicine, an honorary fellow of the Philippine College of Addiction Medicine, and a certified family physician of the Philippine Academy of Family Physicians. He is accredited as an occupational safety and health practitioner by the Department of Labor and Employment and currently the chair of the Department of Preventive and Community Medicine of St. Luke's Medical Center, College of Medicine. To talk about infectious disease prevention and control in the workplace, please welcome Dr. Edmir Macabulos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to share my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yes, Doc.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Doc.
Can you see me?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Baka lang kasi if you think you're seeing Tom Cruise, nagkakamali kayo. Kamukha ko lang po siya. Mas maganda akong lalaki sa kanya. Anyway, so as mentioned, thank you very much for that kind introduction. So as mentioned, the topic will be infectious disease prevention and control in the workplace. So this disclaimer for this presentation. This is the coverage of the topic for this afternoon. One of the important aspects of prevention is you look back at we have what we call the natural history of in man. In that natural history of disease in man, there is such a thing as a pre-pathogenesis period as well as the pathogenesis period. If you say that you're in the pre-pathogenesis period, it means that all the factors that can bring about disease occurrence are basically in a harmonious relationship. Thus, there is an equilibrium. There is a harmonious relationship between agent, host, and the environment and the other factors in the development of disease. Meaning, in a way, the person in that stage will be in good health. But if you enter the pathogenesis period, it has already set the development or the disease has already set in. Sa madaling salita, nandoon na po ang development ng sakit. And there are only two endpoints when you develop the disease. It's either you recover or you die. Unfortunately, even if you recover, there is the possibility that your physician or the healthcare team may not bring you back 100% in the condition that you were in prior to the development of disease. That's why we really advocate, especially in the field of occupational medicine, prevention is the most important thing as far as we are concerned. So there's what we call the hierarchy of controls. So this is the hierarchy of controls. Basically, if you can eliminate the cause of the development of disease or a hazard, then that will be the best. But since we're talking about infection, ideally, we would like to eliminate all of these infectious agents. But unfortunately, as of this time, the world is only successful in removing smallpox in the face of the earth. And currently, the World Health Organization, together with different organizations, is trying to eliminate polio in the face of the earth. And there are only 2 countries right now with cases of polio. But it is easier said than done. So basically, as you've heard, there's only one as of now that has been eliminated. So if we talk about the hierarchy of controls and trying to remove this infectious agent, then we might have some difficulty. You cannot also substitute, obviously, an infectious agent, no? Di ka naman pwedeng mamili na ito kasi mas mahina-hina itong klase. So dito na lang ako. So we will start the engineering control. And this has been at least during the time or during the COVID pandemic. Nakakalungkot na kinailangan pang COVID pandemic. When you say engineering controls, as you can see here, isolate people from the hazards, meaning in a barrier in between the infectious agents as well as the people. So we probably almost everyone here have seen putting in some barriers, plastic barriers or any form of material so that be able to have complete contact with your even your co-worker. So you isolate. If there is also one as part of the engineering control, better ventilation. There was even one recommendation to having windows or openings in buildings. But of course, not everyone will be able to do that. That's why we also use some form of HEPA filters, purifiers in order to serve as some sort of engineering control in the prevention of contact with infectious agent. And at the same time, we also had, or we have also the administrative control. It was fortunate enough that we already had the Telecommuting Act during the time of the pandemic. And one of the things that is, you can do as part of the administrative control is change the way people work. And what happened during the pandemic? Majority of us worked from home. And that is one administrative control to ensure that there will be less contact with people who might be harboring the COVID infection during that time. And there is also what we call flexi time. And of course, the least effective among the hierarchy of controls is the use of personal protective equipment. And that is using appropriate, proper personal protective equipment. Kung titingnan ninyo, partly nandun sa dulo ang PPEs, no? Try to imagine if, number one, you're using a substandard personal protective equipment and you don't have the others at the above the personal protective equipment in terms of hierarchy of controls. O di kaya hindi mo ginagamit ng maayos. Yung bang during the time of COVID, sinabi ng dapat nakamask ka ng maayos, pero how many of us have seen people na nakalabas pa ang ilong during the time of COVID? So it's important that it's not just the use of PPEs that we should be fixated, but the other hierarchy of controls as well. So infectious, why is it important that we have infectious disease control, prevention and control in the workplace? It is necessary to prevent transmission of communicable disease in the workplace. So kinakailangan siya, no? Try to imagine kung wala tayo, if we don't have any form of controls or preventive measures. Baka hindi lang yung nangyari ng COVID, yung number of people that died and even contracted COVID, yung numbers na lumabas, no? But it could have been more. So that it's not, of course, it's not just COVID, no? Mentioned here is critical during the COVID-19 pandemic because prevention and control of infection in the workplace was really highlighted during the time of COVID. And it's also important that we should identify the hazard, basically in this case, biological. We have what we call health hazards, no? And those health hazards is the biological hazards. And an example, of course, are infectious agents. And one of the control measures to prevent, of course, the spread of infectious diseases is to have an immunization program for diseases or those infectious agents na meron ng vaccines, no? There were issues regarding vaccine hesitancy in the past, but siguro if you're going to ask your parents or even ayoko naman sabing mga kaedad ko mga parents ninyo, but through the years we already had immunization program. In fact, as of today, we still have the expanded program of immunization for children, and it has been proven to be effective. And if you look at these 7 healthy habits para sa Healthy Filipinas by the Department of Health, makikita nyo that one of them is to get vaccinated. And as far as the Department of Labor and Employment OSH standards, no, this is what we're using right now as far as preventive and control measures of different concerns in the workplace, no, yung occupational safety and health issues, no, and we're using this as of now. It has been amended, but the new version has not been out yet. So you just still follow this rule, this OSH standards, which was first crafted in 1979 and then was amended in 1989, no. So makikita nyo in Rule 1960, which is Occupational Health Services, there is a section there, which is Occupational Health Program. These are the employer shall maintain an occupational health program that includes the following: health examinations, diagnosis and treatment of all injuries and occupational and non-occupational diseases, accurate and complete medical records of each worker, health education and counseling, and still there is already as early as that time the immunization program. In fact, there is what we call reportorial requirement to DOLE, and one of the documents that you have to submit to DOLES, the annual medical report. And as you can see, you also have to report your immunization program. Whatever vaccines that you are giving should also be part of this AMR or the annual medical report. So, what is a communicable disease? It is an illness caused by an infectious agent or its toxic product that can be transmitted in a workplace from person to person. So, communicable diseases, this is, or we can also call this as infectious diseases. So, as mentioned, the agent or the factor that brings about the development of such disease is an infection or infectious agent. So it could be bacteria, it could be virus, and so forth and so on. Then an illness may only be affecting one employee initially, no? And then eventually there will be a lot of members of the working population that become sick because of contracting the disease that initially only occurred in one of the employees of establishment, no? So sa makatwid, hindi porke isa pa lang sa simula ang nagkakaroon ng sakit, medyo we can be complacent. Look at what happened to some of the pandemics that transpired all over the world. And wag na nga tayong lumayo dito sa COVID, no? Nagsimula lang naman ng isa, dalawa, tatlo ang mga nagkasakit ng COVID, but eventually it turned out to be a pandemic, no? So it's important that as early as possible, the first time that you determine that there's somebody who has an infectious agent, try to contain it as much as possible, especially if it's something which is an emerging disease, no? So, ano bang maaaring mangyari, no? Sickness absence can have various financial repercussions for both workers and the businesses. Employees who do not have leave benefits and are on a no work, no pay policy, ay maaapektuhan, no? Especially maybe for those who are contractual pa lang or in the probationary period. So try to imagine every day that they are not able to work, tuloy-tuloy din na hindi din siya nakakumikita, no? Then of course, aside from that, the medical cost that that patient or that worker will incur, and if they are covered by the company, then it's still the same. There will still be medical costs that will be incurred because of the development of the disease. Then potential cost of having to find temporary replacements for staff who are sick, and diminished productivity for workers who will take on responsibilities of absent colleagues, no? So, ganun din na nangyari during COVID, no? Unti-unting nauubos ang ating mga manggagawa to the point na kung sino na lang ang walang sakit, sila yung nagte-take over. And eventually, even if they don't have COVID, other problems cropped up, especially mental health concerns. So, ganun din, their productivity have been affected because of illness of some of their co-workers, no? And then risk to client relationships if the deadlines are missed or standards drop because key members are off. So basically, we know that there are deadlines, not just deadlines for the workers to fulfill their task. The reason why there are deadlines because we also have deadlines for our clients, for our customers. So any time na hindi natin ma-fulfill ang mga promise natin as far as deadlines are concerned, it becomes a negative impression as far as our clients are concerned. So hindi siya magiging maganda sa business, no? So it's important that we should know what are the risks of infections in the workplace. We should also have policies in place for contagious diseases and ensure employees that will know the best course of action just in case may mga nagkasakit sa establishment. And all of this can help reduce the spread in the workplace and the impact on overall productivity and efficiency. So napakahalaga na meron tayong mga polisiya and programs that will ensure that there will be guidelines that we have just in case somebody gets sick, or particularly a contagious disease in the workplace. So communicable diseases prevention focuses more on the basic risk reduction principles to reduce the risk of workplace transmission of communicable diseases. Alalahanin natin, ang number one priority will be not having more workers getting sick. So prevention, kasi wala ka nang magagawa in case na merong magkasakit. Ang gagawin mo, huwag na sana madagdagan pa ang nagkakasakit. If you can remember what I mentioned regarding the pre-pathogenesis period, we want as much as possible most of our workers in the pre-pathogenesis periods wherein majority of them, those who are in that period, are not sick. So the more na may tumawid dun sa pathogenesis period, ibig sabihin nadadagdagan ang mga nagkakasakit at nadadagdagan din ang pwedeng makapanghawa ng karamdaman o ng infectious disease sa ating mga manggagawa. So there should be policies to support workers who have symptoms of a communicable disease so they can avoid being at the workplace when sick. So dapat kasama kung ano man na ang mga guidelines natin. Kung ikaw may sakit, of course, depending of course on your policies, there should be a policy. Hindi pwede itong nagkasakit ka, huwag kang papasok. There should be a policy to begin with. Try to imagine dun sa inyo, kasi ako nung ako estudyante, pinagmamalaki pang meron ding mga iba kahit sa trabaho, pinagmamalaki pa, kahit ako may sakit, kahit ako'y papasok, napakasipag, di ba? May mga narinig tayong mga ganyan, ano? But try to imagine, if you are sick, unang-una to begin with, if you go to your or if you don't absent yourself, anong dinadala mo sa kumpanya? Number one, ikaw ang pwedeng makapanghawa ng sakit sa ating mga kasamahan, ano? And number two, obviously, if you're sick, you're not 100%. Definitely, your productivity is not 100% also. So, there should be a policy na pag itong mga manggagawa nito ay may sakit, ano ang dapat na gawin? Kailangan ba nilang pumasok o pwede naman hindi na pumasok? Especially with the advent of telecommuting, with work from home arrangement, maaari yun, ano? But basically, dapat sana kung may sakit ka nga, dapat nga hindi ka sana nagtatrabaho, no? Then prompt isolation, appropriate disposition of workers who develop symptoms while at work. Ito naman yung nakapasok na, tapos bigla siyang nagkaroon ng sakit. Again, one example is COVID. Ano ba ang polisiya natin na biglang pagdating doon, nakapasok na siya, biglang meron pala siyang symptoms. How are we going to isolate this worker, no? So dapat meron din tayong mga proper guidelines regarding disposition of workers who suddenly develop symptoms while they are at work. Then fitness to work, assessment of worker returning from sickness absence by the OSH physicians relative to workers' job tasks, no? So it's important that the final say will be given by the OSH physician in the company with regards to return to work or the fitness to work of every worker, no? So kasi siya yung makakapagsabi, nakakayarin mo na ba ang trabaho mo? O kung lalo na if it's something infectious, then if you're still contagious, then most likely you're not supposed to be in the workplace. Promote good hygiene by providing hand sanitizer facilities, and of course reminding all workers through your policies and even signages to wash your hands regularly. Now, number one, for us to avoid or prevent the transmission of infectious diseases is a very simple way of washing our hands. So yun yung napakahalaga. By washing our hands, ang laki ng maitutulong nito para mabawasan ang pagtatransmit ng infectious diseases. But of course, in cases wherein hindi available ang sabon, o minsan, halimbawa, nawalan ng tubig, hand sanitizer are also one way of preventing or cleaning our hands and eventually preventing the transmission of disease, no? Or more particularly infectious disease. Cleaning processes, kasama ito no? Importante ito. Kahit naman siguro ng mga bata pa tayo, bata pa naman tayo, napakahalaga na itinuturo na dapat na yung cleanliness, ano? Sabi nga nung sa GMRC, doon sa mga kaidaran ko, cleanliness is next to godliness. So, napaka-importante na nating panatiliin na malinis ang ating kapaligiran para makaiwas o mabawasan ang pagkakaroon ng mga infection in our workplaces, no? I already mentioned regarding ventilation. So there should always be ventilation, proper ventilation in our own workplaces. And then support employees in receiving vaccinations for vaccine preventable condition. Of course, depending on the company's capacity. So napakahalaga that if the company can provide, sabi naman natin, depending on their capacity, then we have to also avail of that. I've heard that there are some companies binibigyan na nga may mga vaccination program na nga yung mga ibang empleyado hindi pa nga nagpupunta. So sayang, samantalahin natin kung sakasakali ang inyong mga kumpanya ay nagpo-provide ng free vaccination, no? And in fact, as mentioned earlier, kasama siya doon sa mga naunang in terms of health program, immunization program is one of the things that has been recommended since several decades ago. So occupational infections are human diseases caused by work-associated exposure, and as mentioned earlier, these are caused by microbial agents, as these are some of the microbial agents we have in our environment, no? And of course, we say occupational infection. These are infections that are contracted either in the workplace or in as part of our work, no, or as task as a worker in a company. So what are the sources of exposure, no? Contact with infected persons or surfaces, such as healthcare workers. In a healthcare facility, ito yung isa sa mga iniingatan, ano, na magkahawahan yung mga healthcare professionals or healthcare workers, no? But it does not only happen in a healthcare facility. Again, as what we have experienced during the COVID times, kahit saang workplace, kahit saang lugar, pwede siya magkahawahan if you are exposed to a person who is infected by a certain microorganism, no? O surfaces din, yung mga pagka nandun yung mga droplets ng infection, pwede rin pag nahawakan mo at na-inhale mo, no? Then infected animals or human tissues, secretion or excretion, especially for laboratory workers, with asymptomatic or unknown contagious humans during business travel, no? So hindi naman lahat kasi ng merong infectious disease, no, are symptomatic or they have symptoms, no? You can also contract these diseases doon sa mga asymptomatic individuals, more particularly during travel, no? And then with infected animals, such as in agriculture. So there is such a thing as an infectious period, no? Ano yung infectious period? This is a time when the infectious agent may be transmitted directly or indirectly from an infected person to another person, no? Or from an infected animal to humans, or from an infected person to animals, including arthropods and insects. But let us concentrate more on doon sa infected person to another person. So there's such a thing as an infectious period, also period of communicability. Ito yung panahon na isang merong or carrier or may sakit ng somebody who has an infectious disease, pwedeng makapanghawak. So hindi lang isa, dalawang araw yan. Depending on the infectious agent or infectious disease, merong period parate of tinatawag na period of communicability. So these are just the stages of infection. Nabanggit ko na yung incubation. Siguro ang tandaan na lang natin, yung illness, wag yung person meron ng apparent symptoms, and then decline, pag yung symptoms niya, unti-unti nag-i-improve siya, which means that yung immune system causes a successful defense against dun sa agent, no? Kasi we have what we call the immune system. Ito yung parte ng ating katawan na tumutulong upang labanan ang mga infectious agents, no? So pagka pababa na siya, na-control niya na unti-unti, there's decline and then eventually what we call recovery phase ng stages of infection. So what are the classification of occupational diseases or infections? So this is ang pagkahawa is based on in transmission. So even the precaution regarding transmission is based on paano ka ba nahahawa, no? So pwede siyang droplet, airborne, contact, or standard, no? Since this is something more technical, no? Basta ang importante dito, ang sinasabi lang dito, pag droplet siya, meron siyang certain size pag-transmit ng infection, mas ibig sabihin dito, ito mas malaki ng konti dun sa airborne. Pero sa madaling salita, pagka yung mga pagbahing, pag-ubo, pwede kayong mahawa both sa droplets at saka airborne. Ang contact, yung contact with another person, and then standard, ito yung whether contact, pwede siyang sa dugo, and so forth and so on. So, we have droplet, airborne, contact standards. No? Ito yung mga example ng mga infectious diseases based on the transmission. So droplet precautions. Number one on the list is yung COVID-19. No? This is just a refresher siguro. These are just the signs and symptoms of COVID-19. For those of you who experience or who contracted COVID-19, probably you can relate on some of the signs and symptoms. Kaya lang, ang sinasabi, around 40% may be asymptomatic, no? And symptoms may change with new COVID-19 variants and can vary depending on the vaccination status. So alam naman natin na nag-iba-iba rin ang variants ng COVID-19. But try to imagine, which I already mentioned earlier, if you are with somebody who is asymptomatic, you don't know na meron pala siyang COVID-19. And it's not just COVID-19. There are other diseases na asymptomatic ang pasyente, no? So nakakahawa na pala siya. So napakahalaga again across all majority of the diseases that we're going to discuss, napakahalaga pa rin ng preventive part, no? So this is just the incubation period for pre-Omicron variants, no? Average lang ito, median 5 days, pero between 2 to 14 days, yung tinatawag na incubation period ng COVID-19. Although yung later variants, iba na rin yung number of days nito, no? But anyway, this is just for the pre-Omicron variant. So what are our preventive measures? Obviously, it's well-fitting mask as per local and travel recommendation. I think everyone is now aware of the use of mask, but it's important it should be a well-fitting mask, no? Avoid poorly ventilated areas, no? Kasi dito yun, sabi nga, pwede ka pa rin mahawa sa pag hindi maganda ang ventilasyon doon sa inyong lugar. I cannot overemphasize the importance of hand washing. And of course, it's not for the availability of vaccination. Baka mas marami pang Pilipino or probably all over the world, mas marami pang tinamaan ng, or rather, mas mga malalang kaso ng COVID-19 if not for the availability of vaccines, no? So this is just yung sa quarantine period, no? Nagbago ito, no? But eventually, for those with asymptomatic close contact exposed to confirmed COVID-19 positive individual, eventually no need for quarantine, no? Kung naalala nyo, merong iba-iba yung araw kung kailan ka dapat naka-quarantine, no? And then for those asymptomatic but confirmed COVID-19 positive cases or unconfirmed but with mild symptoms, ito po yung mga recommendation during that time, ano. And as of now, ganun pa rin naman, confirmed COVID-19 positive cases with moderate to severe symptoms, there's recommended isolation for 10 days. Of course, depending on the signs or the attending physician who will decide whether you will continue to be isolated or eventually to discontinue ng isolation. ninyo, no, for COVID. This is just an infographic of tungkol sa COVID-19. These are symptoms. Ito yung mode of transmission niya, less than 6 feet, no? Kaya 2 meters yung sinusukat-sukat ng dating Secretary of Health natin para ipakita na ganun dapat na kalayo ang bawat isa, no? Kasi ang sinasabi nga, it's droplets, no? Mga pag more than that, baka hindi na mahawa. But there were also studies na sinasabi na it could have been airborne ng COVID-19, no? So ito rin yung nakasulat kanina doon sa slides. So these are the different COVID-19 vaccines that were present during the pandemic, and as of now, nandiyan pa rin naman siya. So ito, these are the series, the recommended vaccination schedule, no? Ito lang siya for those with sa mga may primary series, no? But anyway, if you see your physicians, no, sasabihin naman sa inyo kung anong nararapat na ibakuna sa inyo, no? But meron original vaccine, of course, ang Pfizer, then meron yung bivalent vaccine from them, no? So these are the schedule recommended by the company. Another infection is influenza. Siguro marami naman sa atin din ang naka-experience ng flu or even flu-like diseases, no? But this one, ito ang emphasis dito influenza, no? Kasi may mga kagaya rin naman siyang yung mga flu-like symptoms, no? So ang sinasabi dito sa slide na ito, it is most contagious during the first 3 days of illness. Ito yung sinasabi natin, yung communicability, no? May mga bilang na araw na kung kailan sila nakakahawa, and infectious a day before onset of symptoms of up to 5 to 7 days. Similar, hindi ibig sabihin wala ka pang simptomas, hindi ka nakakahawa. This is spread with the cause of this disease is a virus spread from person to person, primarily through coughing or sneezing from a sick person, no? So ano recommendation pagka meron kang influenza? Stay home until fever-free for at least 24 hours. Yun yung fever-free ka nang wala ka ng tinitake na gamot para sa lagnat, no? You stay in a separate room, have adequate rest, cough etiquette, yung tamang pamamaraan sa pag-ubo, then drink plenty of liquids. Again, wash your hands with soap and water frequently, and if ang physician mo mag-prescribe ng antiviral drugs, then inumin mo, sundin mo ang sinasabi ng iyong doktor, no? So individuals with confirmed flu or flu-like symptoms should stay away or avoid contact with others to prevent the spreading of ng virus, no? Ito yung kung babalikan niyo siguro yung mga panahon na meron kayong mga ganito, akala nyo simpleng ubo, simpleng sipon, nilagnat kayo, kaya naman ng katawan ninyo, papasok kayo, kung itas magugulat na lang kayo, parang nadagdagan na nagkakasakit sa kumpanya. Most likely, kung sino man yung masipag na pumasok habang may sakit, siya yung nagdala ng influenza doon sa kanilang kumpanya, no? So it's important that we should also, at pag sinabi ko nga kanina, kung may sakit ka, dapat sana nagpapahinga ka, dapat papagaling ka, no? So there is a vaccine for influenza, no? There's one dose, no? Among healthy adults, pregnant and elderly, it is suggested na magkaroon siya ng annual influenza vaccination. And then for healthcare workers, the same annual influenza vaccination using itong inactivated influenza vaccine. But of course, for all vaccines, no, meron siyang adverse reaction, pero hindi naman ito yung ibig sabihin pag may adverse reaction, hindi ka na magpapa-immunize, no? Siguro for those of you na immunization, and even for children, meron, no? I gave shots to children in the past, talagang sinasabi ko sa parents na ito pwede ko itong maramdaman, ito pwede maging effect ng vaccine para hindi sila nagugulat, hindi nila iniisip. Ang sinabi ng doktor, maganda ang immunization, ang vaccine. Pagkatapos nagkasakit ang anak ko o nagkasakit ako. So matatakot at matatakot ang ating ang tao dahil sinabi mo para sa ikabukalusugan niya, tapos bigla na lang siyang nagkasakit. So it's important that you ask, no? You ask, pagka kayo yung nagkaroon, pag nagpag-immunize kayo, ano po ba ang mga posibleng maramdaman ko? Para malaman nyo rin kung yung bang nararamdaman nyo ay kasama pa sa bakuna or probably some other things na yung nararamdaman nyo. There's contraindication. Ito yung contraindication. Those with allergies to eggs and of course the other components noong influenza vaccine, no? Then we also have yung another disease is meningococcal disease, no? Ito yung area na nagko-cause ng meningococcal disease, no? Kadalasan yung infection, itong microorganism na to nandoon sa area sa pandang ilong at saka ngalangala, no? Similar to that of COVID as well as influenza, droplets din ang ang transmission niya, no? Ito lang picture ng isang bata or isang pasyente na may meningococcemia, no? Ito ang description namin dito, parang purpuric rashes or parang mga kulay violet ito, ano, na rashes na kumakalat, no? So kung titingnan nyo, almost all infections at the start, meron tinatawag na parang almost similar symptoms, no? Nagkakaiba-iba lang dun sa other signs and symptoms na lumalabas eventually, no? Kasi hindi naman lahat na may sakit na nilagnat, sinipon, inubo, na nagkakaroon din ng tinatawag na ganito klaseng rashes, no? So how can you prevent? How can you prevent meningococcemia, no? Parati, pag may ubo-sipon ka, siguro galiin mo na magtakip ka ng iyong ilong at ng iyong bibig kung ikaw ay uubo o di kaya babahing. Tapos still, no, at this point in time, no, as mentioned at the start, COVID is still with us, but umiwas pa rin tayo sa maraming tao, no? It's not just because of COVID is still with us, but there are still other diseases na po pwede mong makuha pagka may maraming tao, no? And of course, if necessary, if you're a candidate for immunization, magpabakuna ka rin, ano? So dito lang pinakikita lang some of the signs and symptoms ng meningococcemia. This is the incubation period, no? Then pagka na-expose ka, no, consult with your physician, ano. Then they will most likely give you an antibiotics, no. Naalala ko nung ako'y mas bata-bata ng konti kasi pakiramdam ko bata pa rin naman ako. When I was still, I think, a medical intern, na-expose ako dito. Siyempre kung kahit na kami, natatakot din kami, no? Natatakot din kami. But of course, since nakasama nyo pa rin naman ako, ibig sabihin, even if I was exposed several decades ago, because of this prophylactic antibiotics, hindi naman ko na-acquire yung sakit. But di gumagaling din naman po pag sinabi nyo meningococcemia. So these are the infectious period. Bacteria nga sabi ko na cause nito. Transmission is inhalation of droplets, no? So first classic symptoms of rash, no? Yung red spots eventually nagiging, sabi ko, yung purpuric rashes, no? Nagiging violet siya, no? Parang violet, sort of yung color, no? So it's important na magpakonsulta ka kagad, and then as much as possible, yung sabi nga natin, kasi merong prophylactic antibiotics, no? Close contact tracing of workers exposed para ma-provide din sila ng prophylaxis, no? Antibiotic treatment should not be delayed to avoid worsening of condition and spread of the disease up to among close contact. And then I mentioned that there is a vaccine, but these are the recommendation. Kung kasama ka dito, maganda sigurong magpabakuna ka, no? There is what we call the high-risk groups. Then, although routine vaccination is not recommended in healthy adults, no, as per the recommendation, For 65, this is recommended siya. Kung high risk, tsaka student living in dormitories, unvaccinated students, and military personnel. Similar to the other vaccines, meron din siyang konting adverse events. But if these are those that you're going to experience, kadalasan kung mawawala rin yan. Kaya siguro nang na-experience nyo rin during nang mabakunahan kayo for COVID, no? This is contraindicated siya for pregnant and those with merong allergies do sa components nung mga bakunang similar ang component, no? Then we have yung acute bacterial meningitis. Again, this is also caused by bacteria, no? Nade-diagnose siya through blood culture or CSF culture, no? But kadalasan merong bago mo gawin ito, merong mga signs and symptoms din na makikita among those with acute bacterial meningitis. Meron din nilalagnat, merong yung iba nagkukumbulsyon. At we have ways of determining if you have possible acute bacterial meningitis through physical examination, and that would eventually lead us to requesting this diagnostic test, no? Then of course, since this is bacteria caused by bacteria, antibiotics ang ginagamit, no? And again, should not be delayed to avoid worsening of the condition. So we also have what we call pneumococcal disease, no, na nagko-cause ng pneumonia or pulmonia sa Filipino, no? It is also caused by a bacteria known as Streptococcus pneumoniae. So pneumonia or yung pulmonia, some of us probably know, is an infection of the lungs that can cause mild to severe illness in people of all ages, no? And this kind of a disease can be prevented, or as mentioned here, some types of pneumonia can be prevented by immunization, and one of those is pneumococcal disease now. So similar to the previous infection, contact or transmission is by respiratory droplets. So what do Diane, age 50 with heart disease, Bill, age 28, a smoker, David, age 30 na may asthma, si Lily na 65 years old na, Patricia, age 41, mayroong sakit na cancer, si Carl, age 37, may HIV, si Miguel, age 55, may diabetes. All of them have an increased risk for an infection called pneumococcal disease. So pneumococcal disease can cause not just pneumonia, pwede siyang mag-lead to meningitis, or yung tinatawag na sepsis or pagkalat ng infection sa dugo, which can lead to severe complications, hospitalizations, or death. So one of the things that we can do if you're part of those na nire-recommend to have vaccination, magpabakuna rin, no? So ito yung sa may edad, no? 1 in every 5 people over the age 65 who get it will die if you're above 55. So what is important, hindi yung basta pupunta ka sa pharmaceutica, no? Still, it's important that you ask your healthcare provider, and then eventually kung nirecommend niya yung vaccination or immunization, magpa-immunize din kayo. Okay? So ito yung mga conditions, na adults medical conditions. Some of them na ipakita ko doon sa previous slides, no? So you have pneumococcal vaccines, no? So some of the adverse effects of immunization ay itong mga ganito rin. Kadalasan yun ng pain, redness, swelling at the injection site, limited movement of the injected arms, tiredness, minsan muscle pain, joint pain, and some of this or majority of this adverse events na experience din natin doon sa mga, for those of you na nagpapakuna ng COVID, some of the adverse effects nito similar din sa adverse effects noong COVID, ano. Kaya sabi ko nga, halos pare-pareho naman ang adverse effects, no. Nagkakaiba lang minsan based on the type of vaccine, but at least for those constitutional symptoms, no, halos pare-pareho lang din siya, no. Similar to the others then, contraindicated siya pag may severe allergic reactions to the component of the vaccine. Acute bacterial pneumonia, no? Most commonly caused nga ng pneumococcal bacteria, respiratory droplets ang transmission niya. Then, nakakahawa rin, ano? Kaya sabi natin, pag may mga nag-uubo, nagsisipon, ingatan niyo ang sarili niyo. And at the same time, ang pinakamahalaga, kung ikaw yung inuubo at sinisipon, dapat ikaw sana ang nag-iingat para sa mga co-workers mo, ano? Kasi nga naman, lalo na kung ikaw lang yung unang nakakaramdam, nilagnat ka, tapos wala ka pang ubo-sipon, sana mag-ingat ka rin na hindi ka makapanghawa, no? So, since this is a bacterial infection, bibigyan kayo ng inyong doktor ng antibiotics, no? At kung sakasakaling medyo kinakailangan for moderate to high risk pneumonia, you will be informed by your health or your doctor na kinakailangan mo ma-admit. So, antibiotic treatment siya, repeat chest x-rays not needed for return to work, no? So, but at times we need further assessment with the company physician for fitness to work, no? Especially such as for workers exposed to respiratory irritants are required the use of respirators. Next is mumps, no? Mumps sa Filipino tawag natin. Ang tawag sa Tagalog or sa Filipino, yung beke, no? Mumps is caused by a virus this time. It's spread directly via contact ng respiratory droplets. So these are some of the symptoms, pero ito yung kakaiba na yung salivary at saka yung parotid gland, lumalaki siya, no? So if nagkaroon ka ng complication, pwede siyang mag-lead ng inflammation ng utak, deafness, inflammation ng testicles for the male, no? 20% ang cases na nangyayari ito, no? Before the advent of immunization, no, sabi nila, it's just kasi kadalasan naiisip natin, no, more yung ano, no, yung lumalaki lang yung salivary gland or parotid gland, no? But in the past, before nga, sabi dito, before there was a vaccine, mumps was one of the most common causes of deafness, meningitis, and encephalitis, no? So, ito rin, yung kakaiba among the others na symptoms ng other infection, yung swollen glands under the ears or the jaws, no? You contract this by yung through droplets, no? Pag merong mga ibang may carrier na umuubo at saka bumabahing and touching some object surface with unwashed hands. So immunization is another way of preventing development of mumps. Nakakahawa siya. Mentioned earlier, virus, no? Recommendation is for you to have bed rest, increase fluid intake, stay home during the infectious period. Again, good hygiene pa rin, no? Kung hindi ka pa nabakunaan, probably you can get yourself vaccinated. Avoid contact with other people until 5 days after your salivary glands begin to swell. And then in case of mumps outbreak, suggest the third MMR vaccine. Anyway, your physician would be recommending this, no? So can protect yourself by mumps, but basically initially this is being given as part ng ito yung booster dose ng measles. Then another one is rubella. Infection niya is ganito rin ang pangalan, transmitted through direct contact by respiratory droplets. Then inflammation of the lymph nodes of the neck, joint pains, at arthritis, no, 70% of adults. This is the incubation period. Rubella is a virus, as mentioned already. The mode of transmission is by respiratory droplets. So, ganun din, rest, fluids, treat the fever, no? Advise sick employee to do home isolation until symptoms appear, no? So ito, nagde-develop ng rashes. Nagde-develop ng rashes yung pasyente, no? So kakalain mo, especially kung kahit sa bata, kakalain mo na nagtitigdas siya. Although, tigdas is a common term, but siguro we got used to saying tigdas more of yung measles mismo, no? But minsan, masasabi natin pag nag-rashes, nagtigdas siya. But there are rashes, especially yung red rashes, na iba-ibang infection na pwedeng mag-bring about ng ganitong klaseng symptoms or signs and symptoms. This is an example of a rubella rash. So sabi ko kanina, there is immunization for measles, mumps, and rubella, yung MMR, no? Which normally, initially, yung unang dose sana niyan sa mga bata, no? Kasama ng pang-booster din na measles, no? So these are the target population for the prevention of measles and mumps. 1 dose for adults not at high risk, 2 doses for those at high risk, no? It is not recommended to all adults who have not received complete vaccination during childhood, no? Pero sabi nga, pagka nagkaroon ng outbreaks, no, even those is being recommended. So let's now go to some of the diseases na can be transmitted by airborne, no? Number 1 is varicella zoster virus, no? Ito yung bulutong tubig, no? So may mga fever, rash, headache, then muscles and joint pains. This is the incubation period after exposure to varicella. 10 to 21 days for herpes zoster rash, no? So post-exposure, consult with your physician. Vaccination as indicated kung sakali. Vaccination kung kinakailangan, wala ka pang vaccine, no? Antivirals may be given as prophylaxis, no? This is viral pero meron din itong mga complications, no? So mode of transmission, nagkakahawangan din siya. Siguro I just don't know kung kagaya pa rin ng mga few decades ago or several decades ago. Nakadalasan bago ka pag-high school minsan, nagkakaroon ka na ng bulutong tubig kasi hindi naman ganun pa ka-common ang vaccines noong panahon na yon. But nowadays, since we have vaccines, it will help na mabakunahan kayo. In fact, this is one of the reason bakit na matagal na nawawala ang mga bata sa school, no? So it's important na mabakunahan sila kasi sayang din yung mga araw na tawag ito na nagkakasakit yan. Ako, I can remember nung magkabulutong tubig ako. I think I was first year high school, no? First year high school, so I was out of school for 2 or 3 weeks yata, no? Kasi nakakahawa ka pa hanggang nandiyan yung mga yung may crusting ka pa, no? Yung tinatawag doon sa mga classes nyo. And parati kong sinasabi na dapat nung mag-second year high school ako, dapat section 1 ako. Kaya lang because nawala ako ng 3 linggo sa klase, hindi tuloy ako naging section 1 nung ako yung mag-second year high school. So for those of, siyempre ayaw nyo mawawala rin ng mga anak ninyo or ibig sabihin ayaw nyo masasayang ang mga panahon na hindi nakakapasok ang inyong mga anak, no? But of course, you cannot force them. You're not supposed to also tell them to go to school na meron din sakit, especially yung ganitong merong bulutong tubig, no? So there is a vaccine for varicella, no? But it should not be given routinely to immunocompetent adults. Healthcare workers without history of varicella infection. Varicella should not be given to HIV-infected adults. So these are some of the adverse events pagka binakunahan ka for chicken pox, no? Mild local reaction at the injection site. Minsan, vaccine-associated rashes, some symptoms, no? But again, these are mild. Of course, there are some contraindications, no? So ito, hindi ka pwede magbakuna pagka may kondisyon na ganito yung pasyente. avoid pregnancy for 4 weeks pagka in connection with pregnancy and breastfeeding. Not safe for pregnant patients, and give vaccine after birth if sakaling susceptible. Then another infection is pulmonary tuberculosis. It's caused by bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Transmission, inhalation ng ano no, yung airborne at saka droplets, no. Ito yung mga some examples ng X-ray. Regarding X-ray, it's important na mayroong occupational health clearance bago papasukin ang mga nagkaroon ng TB, no. Nowadays, ang before kasi, as of now naman, still yung part ng TB dots is yung sputum microscopy, but the best way of detecting TB is through the use of the gene expert, no. So yun ang ginagamit niyo kung available siya. Mas maganda na gene expert because there is a certain percentage of those that undergo sputum microscopy na hindi na-detect yung presence ng nung infection. So kung meron lang rin na ganito, mabuting gawin na, no. And then depending of course, meron ng tinatawag, no, doon sa bagong clinical practice guidelines ng tuberculosis, no. Na ideally sana, especially sa lahat ng workplace naman, di ba? As part of the annual part ng annual medical examination, lahat sana na X-ray sila. And then for those who have symptoms of cough for at least 2 weeks, no, of fever or night sweats, or yung pag merong mga ganon, parang ano siya, clue na baka merong tuberculosis or baka may possible TB yung inyong manggagawa, then probably you can recommend chest X-ray. Pag nakita sa chest X-ray na may potential na mukhang TB siya, then they will be called presumptive TB. And then for confirmation, do a gene expert, no. Kasi nga ho, para lang sa kalaman ng mga naririto, number 4 tayo in terms of cases of tuberculosis around the world. We used to be nandoon sa position for several decades. We've been ranking 7, 8, 9, no? But suddenly we went up to number 4. In fact, during the first year ng COVID, we even went up to number 2. So ang pangit naman pakinggan siguro kung magpapabaya tayo, maging number 1 tayo ng cases ng tuberculosis all over the world. It is something that we should not be proud of, no. Then we have measles, no, yung tigdas, no. Siguro yung mga, kung meron mga nanay dito, baka familiar sila doon sa tigdas. Dito yung kadalasan sa bata, no. Highly contagious and transmitted from person to person by airborne route through respiratory droplets. These are some of the things that nakita ninyo sa mga bata, no. Ganun din, may maculopapular rashes. Kaya lang may ano yan, meron din siyang sequence. It will start ang rashes from sa ulo hanggang pababa. Kadalasan pag nandumabot na sa baba, that's the time na nawawala na rin ang fever ng mga bata or ng pasyente na nagkakaroon ng measles, no. Contagious 4 days before through 4 days after rash, no. So similar to others na importante yung practice of good hygiene, cup etiquette, rest, increase with intake. Then if necessary, take antipyretics or paracetamol for fever and aches. Take prescribed medication for severe diseases. So these are some of the complications from the measles infection. Pwedeng ear infection, pwedeng diarrhea, some pneumonia, swelling of the brain, may eye disorders, may mga fatal brain complications. Hindi na ilagay dito, one of the common na nakikita sa mga bata, yung tinatawag na infection ng heart muscles, no, myocarditis, no. So it is not that common, pero kasama ng mga complications na to, dapat iwasan na magkaroon kasi it's either it will lead sa hospitalization or even death, no. Nakakaawa din yung mga nagkakaroon ng encephalitis. Samantalang itong complications na to could have been prevented kung nagpabakuna o binakunahan lang because preventable naman ang measles, no. So again, dun sa binanggit measles, mumps, rubella, no, kasi magkakasama ito measles, mumps, rubella na bakuna. No? I think I've already shared this slides. No? So, pwedeng magkakasama namang ibigay yung tatlo. These are the adverse reactions. So, should be counseled to avoid becoming pregnant kasi ang rubella sa mga nagbubuntis may mga complications. Actually, sa lahat naman, no? Pag lalo na first trimester. But pathognomonic yung mga nangyayari doon sa mga nagkakaroon ng rubella during pregnancy. So this one is for contact precaution. Ang isa, acute infectious diarrhea. So timing of symptoms, onset following exposure to suspected food source depends on, so it can be bacteria, can be virus. Siguro, meron ba sa inyong hindi pa naka-experience ng nag-diarrhea sa ating audience? Meron po ba? Meron ba? Lahat ba dito, kahit pa paano, one time or the other, meron lang nag-experience ng diarrhea sa inyo? O hindi pala naka-experience? So kung walang nag-respond, ibig sabihin, kahit isang beses man lang in our lifetime, meron nagkaroon na ng experience. Merong isa. Naka-experience na po. Kasi I think one time or the other we experience. We just don't know kung hindi ka nagpatingin whether it's infectious or not, no? But infectious diarrhea, kahit pa paano, pag pinabayaan mo, can lead to something which is serious, no? So most cases of diarrhea are maybe infectious etiology, kaya lang they are self-limiting, no? Especially kung viral siya, no? Minsan wala kang gagawin, magha-hydrate ka lang, mawawala na after a few days, no? Pag may bloody stools, no? Wag kayong inom ng anti-motility agent. Actually, ang recommendation nga talaga, pagka nagda-diarrhea ka, lalo na kung it's infectious, mas maganda nga ilabas mo siya. But of course, you have to hydrate, no? Kasi kung pababayaan mo, that's one of the recommendations kung gusto mong malinis nga yung system mo, no? Most organism causing diarrhea transmitted through contaminated food or water, sometimes resulting in outbreaks with several or multiple affected. So it's important to practice hand hygiene. Meron mo ba dito sa audience natin ang hindi kumakain ng chichirya or ng finger foods? Meron ba? O lahat o majority dito, if not everyone, one time or the other have tried eating finger foods. So wala akong nagtataas ng kamay. Ayun, may yes, kumakain ng finger foods, no? So sa mga kumakain ng finger foods, 100% of the time ba na kumakain kayo ng finger foods, naghuhugas kayo ng kamay? Nagagawa niyo maghugas ng kamay when eating finger foods? Nagagawa ba 100%? Ako, I'll be honest that there are a few instances na hindi ko na nagagawang makapaghugas ng kamay. Sometimes, not all the time. Di ba? So, pero alam natin that the value of hand washing, no? Hand washing, nakakaligtaan natin. Kaya ako minsan, pag hindi, kung makikita niyo ako in the future, no? Yun, alcohol, no? Pero kung hindi ka nga makapaghugas o wala kang alcohol, minsan, tama yun, kasi kanina, hand sanitizer, alcohol, kung hindi ka makapaghugas, no? But for the instances na hindi kayo nagagawa yon, ako, mapapansin niyo ako, kung naging conscious ako regarding hand washing. Pag nakita niyo ako na tinitinidor ko ang chicharon or kinukutsara ko ang peanuts, aware ako na hindi pa ako nakapaghugas ng kamay. Di ba? nag-hand washing po pag malapit lang po sa lavatory and may alcohol na lang. Kasi kung hindi nga, minsan lalo na nagkabiglaan lang nakakain kayo o in fact it's not just finger foods, no? Minsan makakakita ko pag biglang may magpapakain ng pizza or biglaan o pizza, hindi ba kinakamay din natin. So pag walang sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag walang nakita niyo ako somewhere na tinitinidor ko chicharon o kinukutsara ko ang mani o di kaya hinihiwa ko, tinitinidor ko ang pizza, ibig sabihin conscious ako, hindi lang ako nakapaghugas ng kamay. Pero kung hindi talaga, there will be few times na nangyayari. But ideally, we should really practice hand hygiene, especially for cases of acute infectious diarrhea, no? Now, if you have infectious diarrhea, avoid reporting to work until with resolution of symptoms. Alam niyo, kung lalo na kung infectious ang diarrhea nyo, pwede rin kayo makapanghawa minsan doon sa talsik ng sa pagpa-flush ninyo. It's being recommended na pagka kayo nagdadiarrhea, takpan nyo yung bowl pag nag-flush kayo, no? So that's one way of also protecting others from contracting yung acute infectious diarrhea, no? Another infection, hepatitis A, it's endemic in developing countries, no? It's also caused by virus at ito rin some of the symptoms pareho ng ibang sakit pero may abdominal pain, dark urine, or yung iba yung tinatawag na naninilaw, no? So it can easily spread from person to person and can cause liver disease lasting a few weeks to serious illness lasting for many months, no? So these are some of the ways na na-spread ang hepatitis A. So it's important that you also protect yourself, no? Ito yung sabi ko kanina, there are some na naninilaw, no? Kadalasan siguro mas common nga na pagka may nakita kayong naninilaw, iniisip nyo kaagad meron siyang meron siyang hepatitis, no? Kaya nung nauso na maraming nagpupunta na mga OFW sa Middle East, no? Pagbalik nila dito yung mga ang dami nilang bling-bling, ano? Ang sinasabi nga sa kanila, naninilaw sila ng ginto, meron na rin silang hepatitis, no? Of course, it's not the hepatitis that we're talking about, but it's more of yung kitang-kita mong talagang kumikinang yung ginto na suot-suot nila pag nanggaling sila or when they work abroad, no? Of course, similar to some of those that I've already presented, meron din you can get some vaccination. You can be vaccinated against hepatitis A. So these are just the infectious period, contagious siya to 1 week, yellowish discoloration, recovery 2 to 3 months, 6 months rest period. As mentioned already, it's caused by a virus, person-to-person contact. So this is some of the ways to determine the presence ng to diagnose hepatitis A, no? So kung sakasakaling high risk, probably pwede kang magpa-immunize, no? So indication, target population, adult immunocompetent individuals, anyone na may gustong magproteksyonan against hepatitis A vaccine, men having sex with men, users of injection drugs, and so forth and so on. Especially yung food handlers, no? These are the schedule. These are the contraindications ng pagbabakuna ng hepatitis A, no? Then we have herpes zoster. Herpes zoster, no? Ito yung parang reactivation ng varicella zoster, yung chicken pox, no? Kung those of you na nagkaroon ng bulutong tubig, ang pakiramdam ninyo Makate, ito aside from Makate, apakasakit daw sa mga nagkaroon ng mga ganitong klase ng infection, ano? So kaya importante rin na kasi ang nangyayari dito pagka na-reactivate, ito yung mga bumagsak ang immune system nila or yung humina ang immune system nila, no? There's also a vaccine for this. These are the recommendation, ano? These are the adverse reactions. No? Then rabies, no? Rabies, of course, medyo nakakatakot talaga ang rabies, no? Mode of transmission, saliva bite of a rabid animal. These are some of the signs and symptoms. It's important na pag kahit na nadilaan lang kayo, lalo na kung yung sa sugat, may sugat kayo or open wound, no? You have to consult your physicians, no? It's not just dog bites, no? Sabi nga, kung kilala nyo, kung may nakakilala pa kay Fernando po Jr., yung tatay niya namatay dahil yung sugat ng tatay niya sa paa yata yun, nadilaan ng isang tuta na nagkataon pala na mayroong rabies, no? So as simple as that, pwede kang magkaroon. At there's such a thing as case fatality rate, no? Napakataas ng case fatality rate ng those with nag-contract na rabies, no? Almost mataas, nasa 90 to 100% ang namamatay kung hindi siya napigilan, ano? Kaya lang sayang 'yon, ano? Kasi rabies is preventable pagka nabakunaan, ano? So for the vaccination schedule naman, pagka in fact merong mga talagang clinic just for this, no? So pwede rin naman kayo pag pumunta kayo sa doktor, no? Or some even sa San Lazaro, or sabi ko merong mga lugar, may mga bayan na meron talaga sila mga clinic for this, no? So sila yung magsasabi sa inyo kung ano yung dapat in terms of prophylaxis, no? Kung kani-kanino lang kamamali pa, no? Tama pa, no? So indication, healthcare directly caring for rabies patients, individuals directly involved in rabies control, personnel in rabies diagnostic, pet owners and household members, veterinarians, animals, handlers such as dog vaccination, catchers. This is just to show you yung mga categories, no, of exposure, no. This one is category yung licking of intact skin, casual contact. Ito yung dapat yung gawin, no. Kadalasan pagka nangyari yun, automatically magpahugas ka agad ng area na exposed. Then this is category 2. This is how you're going to be managed. And then category 3. Ito yung dapat gawin. But much better that you consult yung physician, no. Ito lang just to show you, ito yung schedule ng ibibigay sa inyo na vaccine kung sakasakali, no. This is the Department of Health recommendation. These are just to show you again yung mga common adverse events. Contraindications. And let's now proceed on sa contact and droplet precautions. Conjunctivitis, no? 80% of conjunctivitis is caused by a virus, but it can also be caused by a bacteria. Conjunctivitis, commonly na nakikita natin o tinatawag natin yung mga sore eyes, no? It can be acquired by direct or indirect contact. Symptoms occur in 24 to 72 hours. Contagious when symptoms appear and for as long as experiencing watery eyes and discharge, no? Again, this is one example na ang dapat na nag-iingat sana yung merong sore eyes. Although, hindi ibig sabihin na acquire sore eyes kung magtititigan kayo, no? Hindi gano'n, no? Dapat yung virus or yung bacteria from the patient with sore eyes mapunta rin sa mata mo. So, paano? So, kadalasan kung naipahid niya yung mata niya, napahiran niya mata kasi nagluluha yan, napahid sa iyo, lalo na kung sa area ng mata mo, yon. Or pwede naman kung ano yung mga pinaghahawakan niya, tapos nahawakan mo rin, naipahid mo sa mata mo, ayun, mahahawa ka na rin. O di kaya yung mga tuwalya, yung mga panyo, or anything that touch the person's eye na may sore eyes at nalagay din sa iyo, yun ang magiging dahilan para magkaroon ka rin ng sore eyes. So viral conjunctivitis or mild infection will usually clear up in 7 to 14 days even without treatment. That is if it's viral, no? Yung iba naman, kaya lalo na pag tumatagal, no, may mga ophthalmologists na binibigyan ng antibiotics, no? Kasi it's not just viral. Sa pag tiningnan nila, may sinisilip yan, no? Yung tinatawag na slit lamp nila, no? And they will determine whether it's not just simply viral, and then they will recommend or prescribe an antibacterial eye drop or ointment in case they also consider a bacterial conjunctivitis. So it's important na makita ka rin ng specialist sa eye, no? Then restrict from on-site work until discharge ceases and for 24 hours after effective. Actually, depende of course, no, sa again, every recommendation, hindi pwede yung ngayon naisip mo ito gagawin natin, bukas iba na naman. Dapat nakasulat siya, policy, no? There are some companies that hangga't meron silang sore eyes, hindi papapasukin yung may sore eyes. Kasi nga, sabi ko nga kanina, there are those na hindi nag-iingat, walang pakialam, walang pakundangan. Eventually nagkakaroon ng pagdami ng workers with sore eyes just because hindi nag-iingat yung nagkaroon ng sore eyes. Ito yung sinasabi din natin kanina in the presentation. We will start with just one person and then can spread to a lot more people in the workplace. No? Kasi nga, hindi nag-iingat yung mismong merong sakit. Kaya there are some companies na part of their policies, they will not they will not allow somebody with sore eyes na hindi muna pumasok yung spread of the infection. No? But again, it's not just conjunctivitis, but for the rest of the other infections, it has to be written. No? There should be a policy, there should be a program that you have to follow, more particularly the guidelines or the protocol that you're going to utilize to address some of the infectious diseases that were already mentioned. So frequent hand washing is necessary, and of course, before the worker will be allowed to go back to work, ang occupational health physician ang magsasabi kung pwede siyang bumalik na ipa. So standard precaution, herpes simplex, contagious siya when sores are present, but can also be transmitted when no symptoms are felt. No, often recommended for people who get very painful episode or who want lower risk of giving herpes to someone else. Anong mode of transmission? Mother to child during birth, contact with blood or body fluids during sex with an infected partner, unsafe injections, exposure to sharp instruments. Maybe asymptomatic. Ito yung some of the constitutional symptoms. 90 days incubation period. Consult with ito hepatitis B. Sorry, hepatitis B na to, no? Ito yung siguro ang main problem nga natin sa hepatitis B, nagagamit pa siya na cause ng discrimination in the workplace, no? Tawag ito, importante report, not because you turn out positive with hepatitis test, you're no longer allowed to work, no? So as mentioned, ito yung mode of transmission, yung vertical, and then yung blood or body fluids, no? And then of course again jaundice for hepatitis. Ang nakakatakot dito, if you become a chronic carrier, it can lead to damage ng liver, no? It can even lead to cancer. So, merong vaccine ang hepatitis B, no? So, kung kinakailangan din, especially for the healthcare workers with exposure to yung exposure prone procedures, no? Exposure prone procedures ng healthcare workers. Hindi naman necessarily lahat ng healthcare workers will be doing exposure prone procedures na pwede kang mahawahan ng hepatitis B. It is recommended that you receive vaccination, ano. So those who are always in contact with blood products, blood contaminated instruments, stained body fluids, and even healthcare work, again, prisoners and drug users, no. So this is the schedule, similar to the other adverse events ng vaccine. Ganun din, pain, redness, and soreness at the injection site, and at times may fever, no. So just for the information of the group, no, there is such a thing as the guidelines for the implementation of a workplace policy and program on hepatitis B. Sinasabi dito, ang maliwanag lang dito is unang-una, they should not be a source of discrimination as far as the workers are concerned. For those who turned out to have to turn out to be positive sa HBs antigen, no. Titingnan pa rin, dapat check pa rin ang occupational safety and health physician ninyo whether they are fit to work or not, because ang recommendation lang naman na hindi siya maging employed is kung meron ng hepatitis at saka may cancer siya. Other than that, pwede siya magtrabaho either with restrictions or totally no restrictions at all. So parang sinasabi lang pag nagkaroon ka ng hepatitis B, pagka nag-lead ito sa fulminant hepatitis or chronic or fulminant hepatitis or cancer, yun lang yung, or cirrhosis, more on dun sa end stage, no. Doon lang sila may karoon ng problema, no. But basically kung meron kasing stages naman ng hepatitis B, no. May recommendation ang Hepatology Society of the Philippines kung sino ang talagang pwedeng magtrabaho at yung hindi pwedeng magtrabaho, no. But I more of yung fulminant hepatitis, no, at saka yung may cancer, no, liver cancer, no. Yun lang, plus the rest is with restrictions, no. So in this department orders will also or are recommended ano yung mga topics na i-discuss natin with the workers, no. Then what are the preventive measures, no? And more importantly again, yung social policy part nito will be yung work accommodation and work arrangement for those who turn out to have or to become positive with hepatitis B surface antigen. Post-exposure prophylaxis for employees, leptospirosis. There are some workers group na mas prone mag-contract ng leptospirosis, but I think ngayon nga naging controversial ang leptospirosis kasi meron daw mga local government units na ipinagbabawal na daw ang mag-swimming sa baha. So as if mahuhuli nila lahat yung mga nagsuswimming daw sa baha. Merong iba na nga, di ba? You don't even want to wade in flood waters, but because there's no way for you to go home because of the flood waters, you are forced to wade in the flood waters now, and you now become exposed to leptospirosis, the leptospira, that the one which caused leptospirosis. So so there are some ways for you to be protected by the giving of prophylactic antibiotics, no. But it's important na siyempre maaari sana tama na-advisean ka properly ng healthcare professionals. Minsan kasi pagka mali rin ang paggamit ng gamot, ito yung nagiging reason for development of resistance dun sa mga gamot na ibinibigay, ano. Mas lalo nagiging komplikado. And leptospirosis, for the information of the group, hindi to ordinary ring sakit, because kung mapapabayaan ka, it can lead to death, no. During the Bagat period and the typhoon period the last few weeks, no? The past few weeks, nakita natin in the news kami rin ang mga kaso ng leptospirosis that were admitted sa San Lazaro Hospital as well as the National Kidney Institute, or the Kidney Transplant Institute. Kasi one of the problems with leptospirosis, it can also affect your kidney. So yung iba na magkaroon o magkaroon ng dialysis now. Then tetanus, the mode of it is also caused by a bacteria, Clostridium tetani. It's caused ng direct transfer ng spores from the soil or sa mga dumi ng animals dun sa wounds and cuts ng isang tao, no? This is again one of the diseases na pag hindi mo naagapan, malaki ang chance that the patient will die, no? So it's important na pagka kinakailangan meron kayong mga experience sa mga na natusok ka, na magpatingin ka agad sa doktor. But before that, you also have to clean properly yung wound area kung saan ka natusok, no? So ito yung serious disease, can cause breathing problems, muscle spasms, and paralysis, no? So tetanus does not spread from person to person. It enters the body through cuts or puncture wounds. So ito yung recommendation as far as vaccination is concerned. So yung isa na bago lang, no, just for the information of the group, is the Mpox, no. So ito ano ba yung mga symptoms? Skin rash or mucosal lesions. Meron din, may fever, swollen lymph nodes, sore throat, muscle aches and back pain, headache, and low energy. So ang mahirap kasi dito, hindi mo dito, it's difficult to diagnose based on symptoms. So kinakailangan na ma-examine ka pa rin ng doktor for them to detect if this is Mpox or not. What is at least for the time being, hindi naman ganong karami ang na-identify na Mpox dito, no, sa atin, no. But and also sinasabi, this is the protocol, no. Observe respiratory etiquette, ensure good airflow, then hand washing. This is a health protocols for Mpox, no. In fact, nagtatanong nga kung kinakailangan ng vaccination sa Mpox. As of now daw, hindi pa naman ganun there's urgency for vaccination, but most likely for those who were really exposed, sila lang muna yung tinitingnan. Kasi yung magnitude of the problem is not yet huge to warrant yung mass vaccination. So just a review, nakita ko na kanina, workplace, kinakailangan polisiya tayo to support workers who have symptoms of communicable diseases. If necessary, isolate already are nasa work na, no? Then for the OSH physician to be vigilant, in time, able to provide fitness to work assessment, and then yung hygiene ng bawat isa, napakahalaga. Wag nating baliwalain. Maintain a clean environment, not just sinasabi clean as you go, no, but as you're in the workplace, in the community, or even in your respective homes, napakahalaga na panatiliin yung paglilinis. Ensure building ventilation is properly maintained and functioning as designed. At kung kinakailangan, for those of you na kaya ng inyong kumpanya na pag-provide ng vaccination or vaccine preventable conditions, gawin natin, ano. This is for not just for the benefit of your workers, but more importantly, it is benefit of the general public. And having more workers who are not sick will also redound to their productivity. And at the end of the day, it's also going to be good for your respective companies. So, dyan po nagtatapos ang aking presentation. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Dr. Edmir Macabulos. Before we proceed to the next part, may I please remind everyone to rename your gadgets to your full name for your attendance and e-certificate that will be sent afterwards. Only those who were able to comply will be able to receive their e-certificates. For those who were not able to sign in our Google form, kindly send an email with your complete name on the email flashed on the screen now. To continue with our session, please welcome back our speaker, Dr. Edmir Macabulos, and please welcome our moderator, PCOM's National Director and Chair of the CME Library and Research Committee, Dr. Rosel Andres, to lead the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please enter them in the chat box so that our moderator can read it. Thank you. Dr. Rosel? Dr. Ed? Hello?
Yes po.
I think Dr. Rosel is not here. Is he here?
Yes, andyan po siya.
Okay na po.
Okay na.
Doktora, you can unmute na po. Thank you.
Okay, salamat. Kala ko is mag-ano lang ako. Mag-hand gestures na lang ako dito na babaya. Okay, so thank you very much, Doc Maki, for the very informative lecture, for sharing your knowledge, of course, the wisdom. The wisdom, kasi nakita natin, na-share din ni Dr. Maki yung mga experiences niya. Iba talaga pag, yung masyadong bata. No? Marami tayong nakuhang mga kwento nung unang panahon. So, napakadami nating natutunan para sa lecture na ito. Now, I would just like to, singit ko lang on the last slide. I have si Doc Maki na marami din palang non-lay dito. No? Meron din tayong dito. We have physicians and other healthcare professionals. I'm seeing some registered nurses and those from other hospitals as well. So, yung isang part lang kasi, OSH nakalagay, it was a typo. Of course, we call ourselves occupational health physician. So, we don't use the term OSH unless we are accredited by the Dole OSH as OSH practitioner. Okay.
Yes,
so,
OH physician tayo. OHP nga.
Yes, OHP. Oo.
Yes.
My fault. My fault, hindi ko na-correct yung last slide. sorry. Okay. Now, let us go now to the open forum. So I'm looking at the chat. Maraming naka-chat dito, pero I think these are just comments from the previous interactive lecture. So ang dami nagtithank you dito. Where can we make sign for our attendance? Okay, as mentioned po kanina, for your attendance, we would need you to change your name for your real name. So the provider could place it on your certificates and then it will be emailed to you. Yun, na-mention din nila, napakita rin nila yung slide wherein kung saan niyo po pwedeng ipadala yung email para to make sure that you are registered and you can receive your certificate. Okay, so since medyo nahihiya pa yata sila, Doc Maki, no? So with regards dun sa pagtatanong, ako na muna ang unang magtatanong. Okay. Meron daw dito doesn't know how to edit the name. Ma'am, siguro sino ma'am may please PM or to instructor on the name. Okay? So anyway, Doc Maki, you were able to mention, of course, as with regards to infectious disease prevention in the workplace, vaccination is really a crucial part of our program. And on our existing AMR, yung annual medical report natin, di ba, limited talaga yung nakalagay doon sa template. Ang nakalagay doon, rabies, tetanus toxoid. In your opinion, Doc Maki, from your wisdom, ano sa palagay mo ang dapat na maidagdag pa natin doon, yung regular talaga, maipasok natin sa ating mga proposal na dapat is meron din tayong vaccination for our workplace regularly, annually at least.
Okay, Dr. Andres, kulang na lang nasabi mo na yung edad ko, no? Anyway, actually, ako kasi, no, in fact, even yung recommendation natin as simple as yung mga annual, mga pre-employment exam, ano yung nire-request, ideally, it should be yung case-to-case basis. Bakit? Halimbawa, like for example, in the case of some diseases, exposure mo to the hazards, yun recommend natin. Kasi, for example, di ba, there are some companies na yung sa hepatitis B, as simple as hepatitis B, minsan ginagawa nilang compulsory siya. Pero, hindi naman exposure-prone procedure ang ginagawa ng workers nila. Tapos, okay, sa akin kasi personally, okay lang kung sasagutin ng kumpanya. Pero ang problema, pag in-impose natin at sasagutin ng mga bawat manggagawa, parang unfair sa kanila. So ang sa akin doon is to try to cost yung recommended vaccines doon sa nature of work. Sa healthcare workers, wala, non-negotiable that you have to be vaccinated ng Hep B. Di ba? Parang ganun siya sa akin. It's more of customization ng recommendation. But I agree na since 1989 pa the last time na napalitan yung AMR. Actually, matagal ko nung sinasabi yan. Kung meron sanang taga-Dole dito, I always tell them, even yung mga diseases, there are some AMR signs and symptoms pa nga eh. So sabi ko, it's about time to really revise that. But probably kung meron tayo, pwede naman natin idagdag doon. So ang sa akin, ang recommendation, what is the type or what is the nature of the work ng bawat empleyado, and then if necessary, what are the vaccines that can prevent them from getting the disease, and then that's going to be part of the guidelines. Pero importante, again, parati natin ina-emphasize, that it should be part of a policy and a program. Hindi yung pwedeng maisip ko ngayon ito, o sige, ngayon lahat magpabakuna ng ganito. There should be something written para hindi nagkakagulo ang ating mga manggagawa and even the employer. Over to you, Dr. Sen. Bata pa ako.
I agree. Natawa ako, meron na naman, nilaglag mo na naman yung date ng ng OSH standards, Doc Elmir.
Ay, no, 1 year old pa lang ako noon.
Nag-ano ka agad no? Kumambyo ka agad. So yeah, exactly. Pero, di ba, yun nga, i-share ko rin yung sa akin, Doc Edmir. Siyempre, sa company, ang hirap din minsan yan. Talagang ipipilit pa rin nila na gusto namin, doktora, magpa-screen. O, sige, gusto nyo magpa-screen, ito yung ating, ito yung issuance from DOLE. Ito yung ating mga limitation. Hindi po pwedeng porket nag-positive yan, hindi ko tatanggapin. Tatanggapin ko yan, lalo na kung hindi high risk. However, since nagpagawa kayo niyan, what will be your next move? Kinakailangan, andyan ka na. So, kinakailangan gumawa kayo ngayon ng programa. So, that's what they did. Napilitan silang gumawa ng programa na kung saan the screening is the screening itself to help the employees to know their current status. Dahil kung hindi pa sila positive, di mas maganda magpa-saksak na sila as early as possible, di ba? So, napasubo tuloy sila ngayon. Sige, nila.
Oo.
So,
Sabi basta lalo na kung libre siya, hanggang,
yeah.
di ba, ito rin, totoo din to, yung I think I mentioned it earlier. There are some companies that are very proactive and they provide even as simple as yung influenza. May kung binibigay sa ng kumpanya, bakit hindi, di ba? Merong iba umiiwas pa dahil natatakot lang sa injection. So, naman, ito na libre na, ba't hindi mo patanggapin, di ba? So, sayang, oo.
Marami talagang meron pang vaccine hesitancy as of the moment. Merong comment dito, Doc. Opo, meron naman pong others to add if wala po putang sa template. Yeah, agree. Oo, meron namang others. However, yun nga, yung pinag-usapan natin kay Doc Edmer nga, yung as in template na at guided na yung mga employees and employers na as much as possible, dapat meron din kayong ganitong vaccination program. Of course, anytime talaga nagdadagdag tayo, meron mga additional vaccination program in our workplace. Pero iba pa rin, Doc Edmer, di ba? Na nandun na siya mismo. Alam na nila, kumbaga, given na yan. Fill in the blanks na lang. Kumbaga, recommended na siya.
Yes, customize siya doon sa company kasi parati ko rin sinasabi, like for example, minsan tinatanong, especially when I discuss some of the department orders, sana may detail pang ganito. Obviously, siguro, deliberately on the part ng DOLE, they cannot just write all of those vaccines kasi once they put it there, magiging obligasyon ngayon ng lahat ng companies na bakunahan doon. So it's more of, kung yung kanina sinabi ko, on the company, if you think that it's necessary, yun ang ilalagay mo. Ang matatali lahat matatali lahat na kinakailangan pag sinulat doon, ibigay mo na. Parang walang pinagkaiba yan doon sa some of the department orders na minsan. Hindi naman siya appropriate doon sa industry, pero dahil nilagay mo, mapupwersa sila. So yun yung nakikita ko lang na for those, if your company feels that it is really necessary, our recommendation is really to write it down. Parang yun, walang pinagkaiba yun sa program plans. Noong 1989, yung health program plan, nakita nyo, 5 lang yung sinabi ko sa inyo. Nandun yung immunization program. But if you look at the department order 198-18, may mga recommendation na doon namang health program plan. Yun yung sinasabi Dr. Rosel na if you think it is necessary for your company because of the exposure, you can write it down. Kasi dito ngayon, nilagay na ng DOLE yung mga different health program plans that you should have in your company. Wala ka nang lusot. You have to do that. So in the case of doon sa vaccination, I agree na pwede mong isulat siya just for your company. If you think it's necessary, sulat nyo na siya doon. Dahil you're trying to customize yung preventive measures nyo doon sa possible exposure nyo to the hazards in your respective workplaces. Kasi para sa inyo yon. Pero kung isusulat mo, halimbawa kayo, gusto nyo lang, dami nito, sulat mo lahat. Kayo mismo, yung company mismo, baka pan siya. Kasi, kunyari, like, isang disease, kunyari, monkeypox. Ni sinulat mo ngayon monkeypox, lahat babakunahan ng monkeypox. Yun yung Department of Health, hindi pa nga recommended na magbabakuna, isusulat mo doon. Unfair sa workers mo. So, you have to really sit down with probably with the OSH team or occupational health team para kung ano yung proper recommendation. And then you cascade it to the workers for them to realize the value of such vaccination at nang hindi na sila mabibigla pag kung sakasakaling isasama nyo ngayon sa recommendation ninyo. Over to you, Dr. Rosel.
Agree. Doc Edmer, thank you for that. And since wala nang question sa chat box, siguro isang question na lang. This is a question that, may question. Sige. So, question po, employees who undergone chest x-ray with impression of PTB, then undergone expert MTB or pero ang result is negative, is it necessary po ba na mag-take ng medication si employee? It's a question from one of our participants.
Actually, ang confirmatory test po kasi natin is yung gene expert, no? Pagka ganito, probably, depend, again, ano po ba ang guideline yung nagtanong? Ano po ang guideline niyo sa kumpanya regarding this?
Mukhang nahihiya siyang sumagot. Pero usually, our guidelines are based din lang sa template na binigay sa atin ng DOLE, which is actually medyo outdated na rin. Dahil dami na nating revision sa meron dito. Sumagot si ma'am. Sabi niya, we recommend employee for full mo consult po. Yan, clearance.
Okay. Kasi doktora, of course, yung sa yung TB in the workplace natin 2003 pa. 2003 pa siya. Pero if you look at the CPG nga, ang confirmatory is tawag dito, you confirm presumptive TB kasi pag nag-positive ka sa X-ray, presumptive TB ka. Ang confirmatory mo, bacterial confirmation will be yung gene expert. So tama yung sa kanila dahil kung ito yung guidelines nila, so we have to follow their guidelines. Kasi ito yung sinasabi ko na case-to-case basis sa kumpanya, you have to customize your guidelines based on the intricacies ng inyong kumpanya. So pag sinabing ito, maganda, mabuti pa maraming salamat doktora na meron kayong polisiya. Kasi kung titingnan mo yung, unfortunately sa DOLE, napakababa ng compliance doon sa TB policies, no? So maraming salamat at ang kumpanya nyo ay proactive. Over to you, Doc Rosel.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, I think that's the last question that we have in our chat box. Any final messages from you, Dr. Edmir? Dagdagan mo ulit yung mga dates pa. 1989, 2003, ano pa yung
ito lang ho, simple, no? Kami kasi we're occupational health physician. We're specialists in occupational medicine. Occupational medicine is a branch of preventive medicine with clinical application. So sa madaling salita po, sabi nga natin, even mention yung natural history of disease in man. As much as possible, we would like to see more of our workers, more of our people in that stage, the pre-pathogenesis period, na wala pang nagkakasakit. We cannot assure, even if we're the best, I'm not saying I'm the best, but even if your doctor, your physician, even the hospital that you're in is the best, there is no 100% assurance that we can bring you back 100% to your condition prior to the disease development pagka nagkasakit ka na. So sa madaling salita, kaya nga infection control and prevention, kasi gusto natin hanggat maaari, hanggat maaga pa, hindi pa nangyayari, hindi na siya magtutuloy pa at hindi na kayo magkakasakit. So prevention is still the best. Paano na nga, Dr. Rosel, an apple a day, your doctor away, parang gano'n. Or an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. Parang gano'n mo. Yun talaga, prevention talaga. And immunization is one way of preventing you from contracting a disease. Over to you, Dr. Rosel. Baka magsabi pa ako ng ibang edad eh.
Yung ano yan, Doc, ano yan, malamang kasi kaya mo nakalimutan dahil sobrang tagal na yung an apple a day, keeps the doctor away. Kaya ako ng apple eh. Kasi wala tayo masyente. Okay, hindi. May sumagot din. An apple a day can keep the doctor away.
Thank you po, Doc Sigura.
Okay, and with that, I'm giving back the floor to our host. And once again, thank you very much, Dr. Edmir. Nadagdagan mo na naman ng iyong wisdom and your knowledge ang aming kaalaman on infectious disease control and prevention in the workplace. And with that, thank you very much. Back to the host. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our speaker, Dr. Edmir Macabulos, and to our moderator, Dr. Rosel Andres, for that dynamic exchange of insights and for answering all the burning questions from the audience. To award the Certificate of Appreciation, please welcome PCOM's National Secretary, Dr. Honeylee Cervantes.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi, Doc Maki. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, thank you sa atin pong sponsor for this afternoon. Thank you, Pfizer, for this time and learning experience. We would like to give the Certificate of Recognition to Dr. Edmir M. Macabulos in grateful acknowledgement of his valuable contributions of insightful knowledge during his lecture on PCOM infectious disease prevention and control in the workplace on September 30, 2024 via Zoom platform. And for our PCOM members out there, it's 8.5 units for you. Signed by Mr. Froy Diaz, Pfizer representative, Dr. Rosel Andres, our PCOM National Director and CME Library and Research Committee Chair, and our PCOM National President, Dr. Ana Sofia Victoria Fajardo. Doc Maki, maraming salamat.
Thank you very much din po, everyone. Thank you, Doc Hani, Doc Rosel, and everyone.
Doc Maki, excuse lang po. Take ko lang po yung picture nyo with the certificate. Okay, smile, Doc. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, thank you po, Doc.
Thank you.
Let's call back Dr. Sophia Victoria Fajardo.
Hello, good afternoon. Maraming salamat po sa ating lahat for attending this afternoon's session. Actually po, I don't have Dr. Ria's message, but I would like to thank everyone on behalf of the national officers and board of directors of the Philippine College of Occupational Medicine. And of course, we would like to thank Pfizer for this opportunity to share our knowledge through Doc Maki Macabulos on infection control and prevention. Truly, infectious diseases can pose a significant threat, not only to individual health, but also to the productivity and well-being of the entire workplaces. Doc Maki was able to show us how, papaano ba ito makikita, papaano ito malalaman by prioritizing preventive measures. Kanina, di ba, simple instructions, simple examples, we can implement best practices, we can effectively reduce the risk of infectious diseases in spreading in our workplaces. Bakit? Kasi kung healthy ang ating individual, of course, yung productivity nag-i-increase yan. And I really hope that we were able to give you some pointers and we were able to give you some strategies on how we can use proper hand hygiene, sanitation practices, respiratory etiquettes, and even vaccination to collectively promote a prevention of culture. With that, I would like to thank everyone and thank you. Good afternoon po.
Thank you, Dr. Honeylee Cervantes. Before we leave, may we invite our speaker, moderator, and all our Zoom attendees to open their cameras for a group photo. Open lang po ng cameras. Okay, ready? Min? Please take the photo.
Ay pa. All right. Ready, everyone? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. We hope everyone discovered new insights on infectious disease prevention and control in the workplace. Pfizer is committed in delivering breakthrough medicines that can change patients' lives. And to that, our virtual program has come to an end. Thank you for attending. We wish everyone a pleasant afternoon. You may now leave the Zoom meeting room. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Recording stop.